this is probably the plan from the beginning. And it's very interesting that they're not getting rid of the guy that actually caused these movies to lose $500 million.
You mean AT&T?
Because you will never be able to convince me. I understand business. I'm a business person myself.
What business do you own? Are you at least chairman? Are you CEO? Are you at least a manager in a business? Assistant manager in a business?
And you can't tell me that you announcing Henry Cavill back in Black Adam, a movie that made, that had more people go see it than any of the previous 4 to 5
movie that made, and then you just stopped there because it didn't make a lot at all. Might have even failed. And also, let's see what account you're quoting this off of. Look at the name. Unbiased Snyder fan. Contradicting itself, because the fact that you're mentioning Snyder fan makes this a clearly biased thing. Unbiased doesn't make sense in this context. And also, unbiased news, but the thing that you're talking about matches a Snyder fan thing. You're kind of seemingly to praise the fact that he's getting fired.
5 DC films started to make a profit.
How do you know? How do you know the advertisement budget? How do you know the all the budgets specifically? How do you know?
People were interested in Cavill coming back, and then about a month or so later, you hire.
Interested in Cavill coming back. The only people that are interested in Cavill coming back is the people that were all into the Snyder thing. Because to me, I was kind of annoyed that he was coming back. And I was actually happy he wasn't coming back, because, no offense, but 10 years of a character that wasn't really being consistent within those 10 years, only was in 3 movies, was kind of annoying. Batman was the one that kind of showed up in other movies, like the original Suicide Squad. He showed up, but that's about it. I don't know.
James Gunn, he announces that Cavill is gone, that they're bringing in somebody new to play Superman, and that they're going to relaunch the DCU with Superman Legacy. And you're trying to tell me that had no impact.
You're making the sentence so it would help you. Of course, it would have made somewhat of an impact, but not a whole bunch of impact, because some people didn't even know that whole reboot would happen. I've been talking to a lot of people. Did you talk to a lot of people about it? Because they just assumed it would have continued. Casuals don't really look into the news as much as we think. The only reason why the Flash thing, Ezra Miller thing, was pretty much everyone knows, because it was literally everywhere in the news. But James Gunn rebooting it wasn't everywhere. It was literally only in the area of the whole DC people talking about DC stuff. The only reason why DC kind of fails is because Marvel takes over. And plus, DC's currently failing. So DC failing around the same time Marvel's failing. Marvel's currently failing. like sort of. So them two failing around the same time, doesn't that mean that it's not other people's fault? It's people that don't really want to watch superheroes currently. But yeah, you go ahead.
On the box office, you are fooling yourselves. There is a direct correlation with that that $500,000 being lost, and it is mainly because of what James Gunn did.
Not mainly. Now you're saying something that's blatantly false.
When he took over, and that was, I'm sure the studio had him announce that, but that has got to be one of the most asinine decisions I've ever seen a studio make.
Yeah, the studio. You're even saying the studio did it. So firing James Gunn wouldn't make sense because the studio's the one that told him to do that. And why are you putting the mouse just right here?
And it's not Peter Safran's fault. And honestly, I believe it should be Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca that are in charge of DC.
Of course, you would say that. Even though they weren't even consistent. None of those made $1 billion. Literally the only one that made $1 billion is Aquaman, and I'm not even 100% sure they worked on Aquaman. Because the whole freaking boss thing fluctuates constantly. And the fact that it's fluctuating, who was in charge and who wasn't, would confuse people. So having a person that would stay the whole time is a good idea, I believe. Making it constant for at least 8 to 10 years instead of changing every 3 years. And yeah.
And I wish James Gunn and Safran were both gone.
Oh jeez. It's like wishing someone to fail, and plus you're freaking blinding people. I apologize that this person did this and had dark and then bright just blasting you. Sorry. It's not my video. But yeah. I just think this is idiotic. Not even giving the person a chance. Currently, Marvel's going downhill, and the talks are that the Marvel's movie might fail. This is the time DC can come back. Let me go back to this. I'm just a little bit confused if this is actually happening or not, because why should I believe a person that's named unbiased Snyder fan? Why are you showing this instead of a actual news article? Because news articles have a reason to be real or not. Actual news things would show at least some credibility over a person that's literally has a Twitter that has Snyder fan on the Twitter name. Snyder all. Unbiased. Snyder all. I'm just okay. It just seems biased to me, and they're not even quote tweeting a news article, because this is only a picture. This is probably quote tweeting something. This is not even showing a link to whatever news they found this on.